It happened somewhere along Highway 71. Just outside of Nebraska, there's a small, old rest stop in the middle of nowhere. No gas station, no diner. Just two restrooms and a few broken vending machines, truck drivers call it. The Hollow Stop. Locals say you should never use the restroom. There after midnight in 2008, a woman named Carla Henderson was driving home from a family trip. Her 6-year-old daughter, Lily, said she needed to use the bathroom. They stopped at that rest area, the one everyone avoided. The air was still, no other cars. No sound except the wind scraping against the metal roof. Carla took Lily to the women's restroom. The lights flickered weakly. There were 3 mirrors, tall, old, cracked at the corners. As Carla helped Lily wash her hands, she noticed something strange in the reflection. Behind them, in the mirror, a third figure appeared. A girl, maybe around Lily's age, standing in the last stall. But when Carla turned around, the stall was empty. When she looked back at the mirror, the girl was still there, pale, hair dripping wet, eyes wide and dark like holes. Carla froze. The girl in the mirror smiled. Then she raised her hand and pressed it against the glass, leaving a wet handprint inside the mirror. Carla grabbed Lily and ran out of the restroom. Trembling when they got back to the car, Lily whispered, "Greater than." "Mummy?" She asked me to stay and play. Carla didn't look back. 2 years later, a maintenance worker reported seeing the same girl. He said he was cleaning the women's restroom when he saw a child's reflection in the mirror. Though he was alone, he quit the next morning. Local police later revealed something darker. In 1993, a young girl named Emily Rhodes disappeared at that very rest stop. Her body was never found, but search dogs traced her scent to the women's restroom. Some say her spirit is still there, trapped behind the mirror, waiting for another child to take her place. If you ever stop on Highway 71 and use the restroom, check the mirror carefully. If you see a small wet handprint appear behind your reflection, don't wipe it off, just leave. 2 months after Carla's encounter, the rest stop was officially closed for renovations. But everyone knew the truth. People refused to work there. Still, the county hired a night janitor named David Lasker, a quiet man in his 50s who didn't believe in ghost stories. The first few nights were quiet, just the hum of fluorescent lights and the rustle of wind outside. On the 5th night, David heard dripping water, slow and steady, coming from the women's restroom. He walked in with his mop, muttering, "Damn leak again." But the sink wasn't running. The floor was dry. Then he saw it. The mirror was fogged up, as if someone had just showered there. And across the foggy glass, words appeared, written from inside. David stepped back. Then, through the misted mirror, a faint shape began to form, the outline of a little girl, her head tilted, her eyes lifeless. He dropped the mop and ran out, heart pounding. But something made him look back, and in that moment, he saw the mirror rippling, like water disturbed from beneath the surface. The next morning, the highway patrol found David's cleaning cart outside. His truck was still in the parking lot, but David was gone. The only clue left behind was his flashlight, lying in front of the restroom, mirror still turned on, shining at something written faintly in the glass. Locals say that since then, if you drive by the Hollow Stop late at night, you might see the restroom light flicker on by itself, and sometimes, if you dare to look through the window, you'll notice 2 small figures in the mirror, standing side by side. They say Emily finally found someone to play with. 10 years passed. The rest stop was officially abandoned. The windows were boarded up, and keep out signs hung crooked by the door. No one went near it, except for one person in 2018. a YouTuber named Mark Daniels, known for exploring haunted places, decided to film there for his channel. His last upload was titled, "The video started normally, shaky footage, nervous laughter, a flashlight beam cutting through the darkness." Mark said he wanted to debunk the ghost story. He entered the women's restroom first. The air was thick and smelled of rust and mold. He aimed his camera at the cracked mirrors. There were 2 mirrors, one completely shattered, and one still standing, grimy but intact. He laughed nervously, saying, "Greater than... So this is the famous mirror, huh? Looks normal to me then," as he cleaned a patch of dust from the glass. His reflection didn't move. He waved. The reflection stayed still. He whispered, "What the hell?" And behind his reflection, 2 girls appeared, pale, wet hair hanging over their faces, their hands pressed against the inside of the mirror. The camera shook violently. There was a sound like fingernails scraping glass. Mark screamed. The video cut out. The next morning, highway police found his car still parked outside the rest stop. Inside the building, there was no sign of him, just his camera. Lying in front of the mirror, it was still recording. When the footage was analyzed, the last 12 seconds showed the mirror rippling like water, and Mark's voice whispering, "Greater than, there, behind me." Then silence after that. The state permanently sealed the rest stop. Concrete poured over the bathroom floor, and the mirrors were removed. But truckers still say that on foggy nights. When you pass that stretch of Highway 71, you can sometimes see a reflection of 3 figures standing together, watching from the other side of the glass. In 2014, after the disappearance of YouTuber Mark Daniels, the Nebraska State Police classified the Hollow Stop Rest area as a restricted site. But not all the evidence was made public. One small SD card from Mark's camera was kept sealed in an evidence locker until someone leaked it online a year later. The footage began at 12:47 a.m. Mark's flashlight flickers as he walks into the restroom, laughing nervously. "All right, guys, here it is. The haunted mirror. I don't believe in ghosts, but..." He stops mid-sentence. Something drips in the background. Water, but it's not from the sink. The camera pans down. The drain under the mirror is full of dark water, rippling even though the sink is off. Then a sound, faint, almost like a child humming. A little girl's voice. Mark whispers, "Hello? Did anyone hear?" No answer. He wipes the mirror again, and for a second, his own reflection seems delayed. Then it smiles. Even though he doesn't, he stumbles backward. The humming grows louder, turning into giggles, echoing off the walls. The camera shakes as Mark runs toward the exit, but the door won't open. He hits it, screams, kicks it. It's like it's welded shut. He turns the camera toward the mirror again. Now there are 3 girls inside. Their faces are gray, water dripping from their mouths. Their eyes black and hollow. One of them tilts her head slowly and mouths something. The glass begins to ripple like a pond disturbed by rain. Mark's flashlight cuts out, and only his voice remains on the recording. "No, no, no, let me out." Then a splash, a deep, wet splash, like someone falling into a pool. The next frame is pure static. Then just for 1 second, a still image appears. The camera is lying on the floor, pointing toward the mirror. 3 figures stand there holding hands. One of them is Mark. And then the video ends. 2 years later, a highway construction team demolished the rest stop to expand the road. But when they broke through the foundation, Workers found a hollow space beneath the bathroom, floor filled with standing water. And in that pool, they discovered 3 small handprints on the underside of a mirror fragment. The foreman quit the next morning. He told local reporters, "Greater than, I saw my reflection down there, but it blinked after I looked away." Now, that stretch of Highway 71 has no stop. No lights, no signs of what once stood there. Yet every few months, police receive the same 911 call from travelers. "There's a little girl standing by the road. She's waving for help, but when I stopped, she was gone." There's a highway, Nebraska, that most people don't drive after dark. Locals call it Highway 71, but truckers have another name for it: the hollow stretch. It's not the road that's haunted, it's what used to be on it. A small rest stop, just 2 bathrooms, a broken soda machine, and a single streetlight that never worked. That's where it began. In 1993, a little girl named Emily Rhodes disappeared there. Her parents said she went to the restroom and never came out. Police searched for weeks, but her body was never found. The only clue? A small wet handprint left inside the mirror. They sealed the place off, but over the years, people still stopped there. And every few years, someone didn't leave. The most recent case was Mark Daniels, a ghost hunting YouTuber. He went there to prove the stories were fake. He said he didn't believe in ghosts. He wanted content. At 12:47 a.m., he started filming inside the women's restroom. His last words were, "So this is the famous mirror, huh?" Then the camera caught something moving behind his reflection. A small face, pale, wet, smiling. He tried to run, but the door wouldn't open. You can hear him screaming on the recording. The mirror starts rippled, like water being stirred. Then you hear a splash and silence. When police found his camera, the video showed something impossible. 3 figures standing together inside the mirror. One of them was him. A year later, construction crews tore down the entire rest stop. But when they dug beneath the foundation, they found a hollow pit filled with dark standing water. And in the mud, they found something else. 3 small handprints pressed into the bottom of a mirror shard. The foreman who found them quit the next day. He told reporters, "Greater than, when I looked down into the puddle, I saw my reflection blink after I looked away." Now, when you drive past that part of Highway 71, you won't see any rest stop. No buildings, just the empty field where it used to stand. But sometime, in your side mirror, you might notice someone standing by the road. A little girl, dripping wet, waving for help. And if you stop, she smiles because she knows you looked. And once you look, you don't stop seeing her. It's been years since anyone has seen the hollow stop. The rest area is gone, replaced by grass, silence, and a line of dead trees along Highway 71. But some say when the fog gets thick enough, you can still see the outline of the old restroom building through the mist, like it never left, like it's just waiting. A few months ago, a state trooper named Officer Reed pulled over near that stretch after midnight. He was tired. He wanted to stretch his legs. He parked his cruiser on the shoulder and stepped out into the cold air. The fog was so dense he could barely see his headlights. Then, a sound. A soft drip, drip, drip. It came from the grass nearby. When he looked closer, he saw a shard of glass half buried in the dirt, reflecting faint light from his flashlight. He crouched down and picked it up. The piece was from an old mirror, cloudy, cracked, edges black with age. But as he held it, he noticed something. His reflection was there, and behind it, a little girl's face. She was standing inside the reflection, right over his shoulder, staring straight into his eyes. Reed gasped and dropped the glass. It didn't fall, it slid down into the ground, like sinking into water. He stepped back, trembling. Then, in the darkness, he heard a faint whisper. "You looked at me." And the fog swallowed his flashlight. The next morning, his cruiser was still running on the roadside, but Reed was gone. No tracks, no signs of struggle. Only his body camera lying face down in the dirt. When the footage was reviewed, the last thing it captured was Reed staring into something shiny on the ground, and behind his reflection, 2 hands pressed against the surface. Then water, rushing sound, and static. Highway 71 is still open. People still drive through it every day. But every few weeks, someone reports seeing a girl standing by the road, waving her hand for help. When they slow down to look, she disappears. But later that night, they swear they see her face in the mirror of their car, dripping, smiling, waiting.